next we have Dan Perez against Dan Lee. This is our first and only 205 match on the card. Dan is under 10th Planet Long Island. He is a HCS newbie, so tonight is his first night here. He received his black belt in 2021 under Steve Caston. And fun fact, he's a doctor of physical therapy, so he will break you and fix you.
There you go. He knows all of it. You know, everyone at the gym probably goes to him.
Oh, 100%.
With questions,
100%.
advice. Oh, we got used to the wall.
That infamous 10th Planet guard work.
Yeah, you see Dan really working those frames. You know, he's got that really tight knee shield.
And he has some sort of a shoulder lock. He's just manipulating his position, right? Like, he's not conceding and he's not staying flat. He's really taking advantage of his hips. He's taking advantage of just moving back and forth. He's feeding off of Perez's movement. The more Perez moves, the more Lee's going to move or Dan's going to move. And you kind of notice how he's still staying sharp on that angle, keeping a hook in or keeping some sort of a frame against him.
Yeah, you see all of his limbs are completely active here. Like, he's using them as a frame. He's using them to dig under. He's got underhooks. He's having overhooks. Like, every single body part is being used.
And we're into a closed guard here. I always like seeing a really nice closed guard.
Right.
It's like so many different attacks that can happen there, just like as we're seeing right here, right? He just kind of faked some sort of a bump over sleep or a Kimura attack just for him to kind of break the posture down of Perez.
It's like when you hear people say that they just don't use closed guard a lot, like at the upper levels anymore, but I still love to see it.
It still exists, I promise.
Right? I still like it. Everything doesn't have to be fancy.
Not at
It's
all.
okay to go back to the basics.
I believe in rice and beans. We're at almost 3:30 to go. Dan Lee in a flower sweep variation, I think it seems.
I think switching to K guard here. Okay, he's got that under, he's got that foot in the hip.
He's got to watch out for his own leg entanglement here.
See? Old school. We're going single leg X to X guard.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite kind of jiu-jitsu.
Love it. Love it.
And right into a back type Kimura thing.
Yeah, looks like he's taking that arm. Oh, going for an arm bar. Got that corkscrew arm bar in there. Beautiful.
Wow.
Just looking to break that grip. Oh, he's a little extended. Oh, but he's coming out on top.
You know, I would have loved to see a wrist lock there. I'm a big fan of wrist locks, especially when you're like an awkward positioning from that. You know, the arm is extended. That would have been a really fun opportunity to say, don't ignore 5% of the body.
Right? Exactly. I love wrist locks. All day. All day.
Me too. Absolutely.
But I love it. These guys are creating some really fun scrambles.
And for their size too, right? Like, you normally see this kind of movement from our 130, 135, even 155, right? Like we just saw with Turtle and Zach Chiamos. But watching these bigger guys just kind of utilize their limbs and utilize their spacing is just phenomenal. With a little less than 2 minutes to go, again, we're back in Dan Lee's traditional close guard with John Perez trying to pass. That was a beautiful sweep.
All right, now he's just going right into the leg. Got a straight ankle lock here. Looks. Grabbing the head to help finish this pass here.
He has a really nice aggressive chin strap against Perez, so that helps with control, and it also helps with that pressure, keeping the head on the mat. And now Perez's turn to be on top, just kind of isolating the arm.
Right, he does have a good bite on that shoulder. So if he can maybe flatten him out and really try to extend him. But, Lee saw it. He was able to get his arm free. Less than a minute left in regulation here, 45 seconds.
Some heckling in the crowd right now. And then there's that big man pressure, right? I really shouldn't be calling them big men because I know there are men that are bigger, but for this card's purposes, gentlemen, forgive me.
Right. These are the bigger guys. We don't have any heavyweights on this card.
Technically, it is heavy. 205 is heavy. 220 is where the super heavy ends, and then after that, you're just in Narnia. Perez just doing a really good job with the cross face here, taking his time, aware that he only has about 5 seconds left, so he's just being patient and just riding out the clock, it seems, but that's a smart move at this end. You don't want...
Making it uncomfortable for him, making it suck the last couple seconds.
You don't want any technical errors that can lead into some sort of
misery.
Right.
Like, you don't want to lose by sub with, 1 second left.
Dan Lee getting first dibs.
All right, electing to take the back here.
That's a very interesting approach. I've never seen hooks like that before because it's almost like a crossed foot.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's...
Now he switched to the body triangle.
He has 30 seconds to go. I think he's just making it uncomfortable for Perez, tiring him out as much as possible.
Right, but Perez is out.
Now it's his turn.
All right.
To the spider web. Is that the...
Yes, that would be the spider web position.
I'm learning.
All right, so from the spider web position, since Perez got the escape, Dan has got to escape to still be in it. But if Perez gets a sub or the ride time, then he wins. Right? But Dan looks like he's got stacked. He's really trying to pull that arm out. Oh, still stuck in there. He's trying to hop over.
And he's
now
out.
It's an escape. All right. Now we're moving on to the ADCC overtime rules, the modified ADCC rules. All right, so just a reminder, it's basically, first person to have control of someone, whether it be a takedown and then end up in side control or mount or back take, or if the other person pulls guard and the other person can pass, right? But he's got to hold for 3 seconds and he's got to clear half guard.
He's doing a good job just trying to push forward, but I think Dan has a Kimura or had a Kimura.
Yeah, and he was trying to sneak in a butterfly hook in. Right, so he's got that back in there. So Perez has got to kind of worry about that butterfly hook if he goes to pass. But if he holds for 3 seconds, he's got the win.
There it is.
Right. All right, so we got John Perez as the winner.
Up next is our co-main event of the evening.